Hello and welcome to the Build Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit. I'm also here to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave Lego the site, the tier 2 blue emote into chat if you are currently a subscriber. You can say hi. You can use my emotes and put them in the chat. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can also just say hi. You can use other people's emotes. If you feel like being a lurker and not say anything at all, that's an option for you as well. I'm okay with that. You do you. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. Welcome, welcome. It is a Saturday night, and it, at the very beginning right now, does appear to be pretty chill, pretty relaxed, pretty, the vibes are chill Saturday night stream. This is the kind of stream where I have to dig deep into my back catalog of thoughts and prepared stuff because I'm going to need to carry it because I can't rely on questions from chat or interactions to get me by. I got to have stuff to bring to you. And I don't. A consistent problem for the last, let's say, 4 years has been that I don't live a lot of life experiences these days. Because I am kind of in a fucking rut in my life, if we'll be honest. And that's fine to be honest about that because, yeah, that's where I'm at. I live here with my parents in South Carolina. And most of my day is trying to get work so that eventually I don't live here anymore. Let's go to the build. Let's start working on the model kit as I wax poetic. Should also say, currently we're at 26 subscribers. The goal is to get to 40. I stopped talking about how many subscribers I have when I hit 40. If you want to become a subscriber, you want to gift a sub. There is a promotion. I do not believe that it has started yet. I wrote the information down. Let's see. Or I made it a command here. Okay, so the 30th. So that's not yet. So that'll be on Tuesday. Starting on Tuesday, you will get a benefit from becoming a subscriber here for the first time, or for gifting a sub. There will be a benefit to doing that, in which you will get 3 months of Apple TV Plus. But that does not count right now, so I couldn't remember. That's why I made it a Nightbot command. But anyway, if you want to become a subscriber for just the fact that you know you're helping me out, that's the only benefit to it. You could do that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In the early days of the Build with Bear workshop, I had things to talk about. There of course, were things that were happening in the world, and those are always ripe for conversation. But also, I had what I was doing in my day-to-day. Interactions at the theater that I worked at, just interactions on the streets of fucking New York. Also, I had the fact that I was new to streaming and there was my life experience up until that point that I could always pull from. Like, oh, this thing happened and this reminds me of this. Or let me tell you the story about that. And I don't think I'm out of stories 100%. But I'm probably out of anecdotes. I'm probably done with a plethora of anecdotes that I can just bring up at any point. Because I've talked about them. And I can revisit them because there's always new people. There's always a chance to revisit those things. But like, I am for all intents and purposes, stuck in a rut. And I think that's okay to talk about. I don't think I need to hide that. One thing I have been in my career as an entertainer and a streamer and a person on the internet is that I will talk about what's going on with me. And that includes the fact that since I moved here, I talked on stream a couple weeks ago now at length about the bad service at a restaurant that happened. And how I had to lay down the law and I had to really push to get shit done at this restaurant. And it was the closest to New York Pat that I've gotten in quite some time. And it was oh yeah, that's fun to chat about. I haven't, I haven't been New York Pat in a while, but that was the most exciting thing in my life for a while. birthday. We talked about that last month, getting up for that, the subathon, all of that. It ties in a little bit to the thing that I've talked about here on occasion, which is I'm the kind of person that needs to be making plans towards a thing, but also I'm the kind of person that needs things to look forward to, and how I have not been blessed with things to look forward to right now. Like I have the vague notion that at some point this year, I'll do a charity stream on my own or in support of other people, like a group. I don't know what that's going to be yet, but it's going to happen because I didn't do last couple of years. I've been doing Plastic Bottle Weekender, and that's just been an easy one to say, yeah, I do Plastic Bottle Weekender. That's my chance to do a charity stream, and I just, I make that the one that I do. And that's been very easy for that to be the answer. I didn't this year to make way for other people. And that has left me with just like this point where I'm like, okay, this piece, I'm sorry. I don't know if I popped the right piece out here or if there's just, let me see. This is supposed to be E10. Is this E10 or is this E11? Because maybe they're different. No, that's E10. They're identical. Well, there is an E11. But I pulled out E10. I pulled the right one. Okay. We'll see. Is this B27? Let's make sure. It may be that I have the wrong piece, or... Nope, that's B27. Okay. So this is the right piece, and this is the right piece. So it's just like I applied it incorrectly. I put it in wrong. Not snapping in like it should. Weird gap there. So I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I don't have like, I know like a vague thing of like, I'm going to do a charity event this year, right? And that's kind of it. Like, there are moments, there are things that, like, small things I look forward to, right? Like, those are part of the human experience that I'm like, okay, well, I got a D&D session coming up next week. That's going to be fun. Tomorrow, I'm watching a wrestling thing with some friends. We're all going to be in the same Discord, watching it at the same time. That's going to be fun. Bittersweet as well, because it's a graduation show for a professional wrestler. So those are always a bit bittersweet, but like that's still going to be fun. I have like small things that I look forward to, but I don't have like anything big. And like I said, that's part of the fact that, I don't really have like stuff, and I don't have a good solution for that right now. I hope that will lead to me doing more stuff and having things, opportunities come up, and and finding the thing that I need to kind of get me out of this. And there's always opportunities that may or may not present themselves, but I might be selling it as more bleak than it is, but on occasion it does feel a little bleak. On occasion it does feel like, oh yeah, I don't really have stuff. And that leads to streams where I don't feel like I have things to talk about. That's why I started, years ago, I started talking about anime just because I really wanted to talk about anime. And that was a fun thing to prepare on a stream and kind of go through a whole season of a couple shows. And that was part of that. But also, lately, it's been the thing of like, okay, now I have news websites that I look at for like gaming news and wrestling news, so that I know that at the very least I have like some things to pull from. That's why we do, it's one of the reasons why we do check-ins with, okay, so I need B32 and B29. Okay, B29. Why I do sometimes check-ins with certain stories, and we do follow-ups, because like I'm just trying to, I don't want to say I'm trying to fill time, but I am trying to say that 6 years into streaming, like, I can only say so much about model kits. Like, model kit stuff comes up, certainly, but like, it's not the same kind of conversations we had when I first started here, where I would really just like, everything was a surprise because there was like a decade of model kits that I hadn't experienced. And there were shows that I hadn't watched until I started like getting the kits together. And there were techniques that I wasn't like familiar with. And now I certainly don't want to say it's autopilot because I just experienced a little confusion there with this kit. But like, I don't often, I should say, not ever, I don't often feel the need to stop what I'm doing to be like, all right, we got to talk about this thing going on in this model kit. I don't find that on occasion these days. And who knows, maybe that will change. Like I said, there have been parts of this kit that I'm like, what do you want me to do? How do I do this? What do you want from me, model kit? What are we doing here? That has happened, so. Partially, that's happening because this kit isn't... The instructions on this kit are not awesome sometimes. They are not always super clear about what they want, and they are on occasion asking for something that's a little odd. So I do find myself on occasion here with this kit just being like, what? Because it's very layered, right? One of the reasons I don't like the unicorn kits is because it's just like a lot. Now, this one doesn't have sliding parts, which some of the unicorn and Banshee Norn kits do. These are just open because it's in destroy mode, not just a unicorn that has that mode. So that does make it a little bit easier to kind of figure out. Okay, so this is just going to go in here. Is that what you want me to do? There's just no... Oh, okay, maybe like this? There's just no good indication about where this is supposed to... Okay, I think maybe it's supposed to go like that. Okay. All right. I think I did that right. I'll find out later. And of course, you know, when I go and connect the leg into this part here, I'll know if I did this wrong, but I think yeah, because these parts don't slide around, but still they are assembled oddly, like there are gaps in this on purpose. This is how this is supposed to look. It just has the gaps there, and so that does make for an interesting thing. And then you'd think because this was white, like it would look so good panel lined, but I don't know if it does look particularly fantastic with panel lining. I'm still doing it, but I don't know. Because it's so, the whole kit is white with accents. You'd think that like the gray would look good. I'm like, I don't know if it does. I don't know. I'm rambling. And I think that's going to be tonight's stream. Tonight's going to be a rambly stream because I don't have a lot to sink my teeth into. We'll talk about some anime in the second hour. A pretty excellent, pretty damn good episode of Oshi no Ko, and a pretty fun episode of Dungeon People. We'll chat about those two shows. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with me. I mean, I have a pretty good idea, but yeah. Excuse me. Bless me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel stagnant, and it's been pretty apparent that I am, and like, I don't know. I don't want to do like anything drastic with anything that I'm currently doing outputting wise on stream. The streams are not something that I'm like, oh, I need to change this. I need to do whatever. I would love it if more people watch the streams. That would be great. It would be nice to have that, but that's not something that I can drastically alter right now. But it would be nice if more people checked out what I'm doing. But yeah, and again, I don't know. A bigger push on that would be nice because, you know, I'm still doing it and keeping my schedule. I'm still doing stuff, but would be nice if a few more folks were here for the party, because I think it's a pretty good party. All right, that is one leg done. I have finally finished the leg. You know, we did 2 feet on Thursday, and then I completed this leg, and I also built part of the other leg. So it's not like I did only this in 2 hours on Thursday, but it was most of the stream was this one goddamn leg. So we do have a bit of we got a bit of a leg up. I'll finish my thought. Because now we had the foot done with some of the parts of the next part of the leg here. Some of the stuff we could do at the same time. So we do have some parts of the leg. So this second leg will take less time to do. Also, theoretically, what would hit boo, says Lashbrook, to leg up. Yes. Look, I started to say it and then caught myself and then had to follow through. Sometimes you got to follow through on your bad and take the abuse. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Theoretically, this will go faster because I've already done it. But also, that is not always proven to be accurate. Looking towards new stuff. I will say congratulations to the developers at Blizzard Entertainment. We talked pretty recently about some unions there, and I did want to just say, because I don't know if we talked about it on this stream, I'm fairly sure we didn't talk about it. We talked about Bethesda's wall-to-wall. This is now a bigger wall-to-wall. It is now, as far as I know, in the United States, the largest video game union. The Communication Workers of America confirmed that over 500 employees of Blizzard Entertainment have formed a wall-to-wall union. This is the World of Warcraft Game Makers Guild. So this is these are all World of Warcraft employees within Blizzard. Designers, engineers, artists, quality assurance testers. Now the Blizzard QA testers, the QA testers who are in Blizzard have a union. They formed a union, and this is more a larger union, which is congratulations to all of them. That fucking rules. That's just cool as hell. Good on all of them for that, and the fact that Microsoft, in an effort to not face heat, is basically neutral and not doing anything to, be like, oh, I mean, are you sure? Like, they're not pulling that shit. Because they're not pulling that shit, people are taking advantage of it by trying to get unions formed. And that's fantastic. You literally love to hear it. And you love to see it. And especially because Blizzard is full of quality people who have dealt with a fucking lot, being at Blizzard and being at Activision, and it is fantastic that they now have a seat at the table for their own futures. This is good shit all around. Kevin Vigu gave a statement to Game Developer. Said that the unit, he is a senior software engineer, says the unit hopes to make good on the company's mantra, every voice matters. And yeah, one could only hope for the hope. By forming a cross-disciplinary union, we seek to enshrine the value, that value, and ensure that developers on World of Warcraft, QA included, will always have a voice in our own workplace. Yeah, it's just fucking cool shit. Good on him. Did I put this piece on wrong? Yes, I did. I did do that. What was I just saying about how I'm... because I already did this before, that the second time would go a lot easier. And then boom, immediately put a piece in with upside down. It's on the wrong side. And now it's in there pretty good. So I have to be careful because I could just completely break this as I go and use this wedge here. Oh, there it goes. There it is. Okay. And now push this and kind of twist. Not trying to put too much pressure on any part here because that's where you get failure states. Okay. So that's out. Now let's try to assemble these two parts according to how the directions go. This facing this way, this facing, that would be like this. This is the piece that goes here because it is pointing down there. And if I could look at the other leg, it's hard to see. But yeah, that's the way it would go. Okay. Part of the reason why this is a little difficult, I will say, is because it's clear plastic. So while it looks fucking rad, it's kind of hard to see the holes there that are set up. It's partially this lighting setup, but also just my own bit of ineptitude there, as not being able to necessarily see where pieces go. But now I've got it. Those two are on right. This is going to get stuck within this, so I'm going to panel light it now just to make my life easier. But yeah, congratulations to the folks at Blizzard. There have been QA stuff at many places, but now we're starting to see, and Raven and Blizzard Albany, but now we're starting to see more within, and that's awesome. Um, so there were some announcements at San Diego Comic Con. I'm not going to get into all of them. Their announcements. Some of them are games. Some were trailers for stuff. The Yakuza TV show, like a Dragon TV show, had a teaser that looked pretty cool. That um, that Adult Swim Juji Ito anime that everyone was talking. Everyone at Adult Swim was talking about, oh, it's coming, it's coming, coming. And then it was like radio silence for years. That got a trailer and it's supposedly coming out this year. That's, I'll believe it when I'll believe it when people I know are talking about it and I don't watch it because that's not my fucking jam, y'all. I will not be checking that shit out. That's some dark shit. I don't need that in my life. No, thank you. That show is not made for me. That show is made for other people. And I'm grateful and glad that they get that shit. They get the shit that they've been looking for. But, no thanks. Just not my steez. But happy for the folks that is, if that's your steez, I'm happy for you. All right, so this is going to go, is this the right way or is this the right way? Which is the right way? Where does this go? I mean, I've just talked about it. I did this already. Like, this should not be difficult for me to do. Doesn't go that way, so it's got to go no, it doesn't go that way either. All right, let me look on this one. Where is this? Okay. This is going to look like that, so that doesn't look like that. If it goes like this. Okay, that looks right. This looks right. Okay, good. Figured that out. And then again, I'm going to panel line this here because some of these spots are hard to get into once these are connected. So we'll just do it like this. Nice and easy, nice and simple. But I did want to talk very briefly. Hey, Lord Crashington, welcome. I did want to talk very briefly about Mortal Kombat DLC. The Mortal Kombat 1 Year 2 DLC is adding Ghostface from Scream and Conan the Barbarian and one of the Terminators because that's what they do and that's fine and cool. And Ghostface in a Mortal Kombat game. That's fine. That's cool. Chaos Reigns is the name of a expansion. That's coming in September. Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath add-on, kind of like Aftermath, called Chaos Reigns, September 27th. It will include Terminator T-1000 from Terminator 2, that guy, Ghostface, Conan the Barbarian, Noob Saibot, Sector, and Cyrax. The guest characters are coming later. We don't know when, but in September, Cyrax, Noob, and Sector will be in there. And it is, again, Noob Saibot. They're doing the full name. And there's interesting implications to this. Because, again, remember, this whole thing is that, like, this is the weird shit one, and the history was rewritten, and everything's different, and all that stuff. And the people that know that very well like to pretend that they don't remember that when it comes to things that change, things like maybe gender. Because Kaji Tang is the voice of Cyrax. The voice of Noob Saibot, who was the voice of Bi-Han, which is Sub-Zero in MK1, and that makes sense because that's the lineage. They're returning to that part of the lineage. But the part where Cyrax and Sector are ladies and are not robots. They are not human souls put into robots. They seem to be ladies in power armor or power suits, and that seemed to make people very unhappy. Uh, Also, Roger Patrick is the voice of T100 or T1000. And the voice of Roger L. Jackson is doing Ghostface. And that's from the movies, and those are things that people do care very much about. But again, I saw some people being very internet weird about that. Yes, how dare they be new variants of the characters in the game where there are new variants of the characters seemingly throughout. But yes, there are some people who are not happy about that. I should also say Erika Ishii is the voice of one of these characters. She is the voice of Sector, and Anuka Okuma is the voice of Cyrax. And that also, I imagine, has something to do with some people being upset. I am sure that the very concept of that leaves some people to be mad. Because it's a whole fucking thing. It's a whole thing. But anyway, like, look, is Mortal Kombat my game? No. Still cool. And I think it's just like, yeah, that's fun. I don't know. I like the idea that it's the Noob Saibot's in there. I think that's neat and fun. And then there are going to be some other characters, and that's cool. And I don't know. Ladies in power armor or power suits is, to me, interesting. Robots are a little less interesting. And here's the thing. Who is to say that those ladies in those power suits don't become robots later? Maybe they just want to introduce the characters like this in this world to then make them cyborgs or robots with souls in a future game, because that seems like something they could just do whenever. We're spoiled for great looking fighting games these days. Yeah. I mean, part of the reason why I was never the biggest fighting game person, but part of the reason why Mortal Kombat, traditionally right now anyway, is not necessarily my jam, is in part to the fact that, god damn, it's so brutal looking. It's so good looking in its brutalness that I'm like, oh, no, that's not what I'm here for. That's not why I'm checking in on this stuff. It's just not. It is basically, specifically, not my jam and not my vibe. Because it is just like a whole lot of, oh fuck, okay. Oh wow, all right, fuck, okay. Lashmer says, my main memory of Ghostface is the characters they're chasing being able to fend them off pretty well. Will be interesting to see how that transfers to a fighting game. I mean, yeah, like, the thing about Ghostface is just a guy, it's just, depending on the movie, if I remember correctly, it's either just a guy or two guys trading off, but it's just a guy. So one would assume that this is going to be like a human in that mask who then got powers from the other world or whatever. But yeah, Ghostface is just a dude. I mean, Conan the Barbarian is like a souped up guy that a god of battle, that he chastises a god of battle into supporting him, because he's like, if you won't help me, I'll stop believing in you. And that god was like, all right, I like your moxie, apparently, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it would be very meta in a way that could work, but might not work if part of Ghostface's moveset is to fake his own death. To be like, you assume you won and then you don't. Like, I don't know how that works contextually, but the idea of like playing dead and disappearing is kind of fun. I don't know. If they really wanted to get meta with it, which if you have Ghostface, you would hope they at least want lip service of going meta with it, because that's the whole fucking thing about the Scream franchise, is that it's a, eventually doesn't become that, but at least starts out that way as a meditation on the meta-ness of movies of that genre. It is not a parody. It is a tribute and an examination. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, it is very funny that because like the Joker and the T-800's been in there, and fucking Kratos and Jason Voorhees and fucking Rambo, RoboCop's been in a Mortal Kombat. Because of all of this, like, people kind of can't just be mad about that. So instead, they're gonna be mad about Sector being a lady. Because, you know, people gotta be mad about a thing. They gotta be mad about things and things. That's just human nature. Sad, lonely, bad human nature. Stupid, sexy Sector. Yes, indeed. Well, if Cyrax is a girl, then that means there are more girls in Mortal Kombat. It's like, yeah, all right. More characters to throw up on a poster on your wall. I don't know. Let's see. I have not watched the post-mortem documentary for Psychonauts 2. The Double Fine documentary epilogue. I have not watched it. It is there. But I have been reading some articles about it. Again, that's shitty of me. I should watch the thing and not just watch the people talking about it. But boy, it does feel like they had to fucking crunch to get Psychonauts 2 out the door. And boy, that sucks. And wow, isn't it unfortunately not surprising at all that a company that is like a family would have that kind of shit going on where people are like, yep, yeah, this fucking sucks. And if I didn't love this place, I would have left. Is like a refrain from numerous people who are like, yeah, no, it was bad. And again, I have not watched it yet. I am commentating on the commentary of it, which I have read, and I do need to investigate on my own, and I do plan on doing that. I do plan on, actually today, one of the things I was going to do today was going to watch that so that I could have my thoughts, be able to have my thoughts on it. And then a 3-hour video about the rap beef, like the post-mortem on the rap beef of Drake and Kendrick Lamar came out, that I was like, actually, I want to watch this. And it was 3 hours, 20 minutes, and it's fucking good. Let me look up the name of it so you can find it. I'll put it in the fucking chat. I don't care. Don't watch it now. Watch it later. Let me go to my history. Let's see. It is called I'm What the Culture Feelin', the full story of Kendrick versus Drake, from FD Signifier. And let me go and click the link on that. There we go. FD Signifier bringing in another fucking banger. It went up today. Again, that is a 3 hour and 21 minute video that I am putting in chat, but also you can watch it at your leisure. It is a deep dive not only on the beef, it is also a deep dive on how we got to the beef. It is a cultural look at, from the eyes of a self-proclaimed hip-hop head, that's JD, the rise of Drake, and looking at the big three, Drake and Kendrick and J. Cole, and kind of like how their paths cross and how we end up where we end up. Various other beefs that our boy had previously, that Aubrey had. I'll look at him as a man, and it's, yeah, I think it's pretty fucking good. As someone who is, look, I am a person that doesn't follow mainstream hip hop too closely, but I do follow a lot of weird hip hop. In many ways, I like a lot of like, I'm more likely to listen to Murs or Open Mike Eagle than I am to listen to like J. Cole, for instance, or even Kendrick. But I am more familiar with Kendrick, especially. Uh, I am not trying to say that I am a guy who uh, it's like one of those things like, oh, well, I only like the stuff that isn't popular. Like I like, I like the band's worst albums, that kind of thing. But I do identify more with Kendrick's stuff that is not uplifting and is instead very interpersonal. That's the same also with Kid Cudi. Look, I like a Kid Cudi banger, but I also like a Kid Cudi album or song that is just about feeling like I don't think I'm going to beat this depression. And I also tend to very much enjoy those performances. So, but yeah, I feel like I learned some stuff in here. It reaffirmed some things that I had believed previously. It is an indictment on Drake and his fans and his lifers, his banana riders, as one would say. And yeah, it's a good video. I recommend it. Oh, I got to figure out how to put these on. This was a part that I didn't get last time. Doing this last time, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong with these pieces here. I also almost skipped over them, which would have been bad, but now I'm doing it. So yeah, the Double Fine documentary had an epilogue. I do plan on watching it. Have not seen it yet, but from the write-ups that I have seen, it is it's look, this is not a dig on anyone, but access or perceived access has a lot to do with what gets said in a documentary. That is a reality of documentary making, right? It's a fine line that people have to be conscious of, and they have to make hard, weird decisions along the way. That is a thing that Danny O'Dwyer has to do constantly, and it's a give or take where it's like, well, this thing I kind of need to say for this to make sense. This thing I don't need to really say. I don't need to include this detail in there because it's not big on the overall point I'm trying to make. But then also, like, it's not that big, like when I think about this person, when I think about these things, like, okay, well, I don't really need to dive into this. Like, all right, I don't need to brush up some shit on here because I'm trying to do this other project, and I bet if I talk about this thing that isn't super relevant, but is just relevant enough that people might balk. This story isn't old enough for me to be able to tell it without repercussions, that kind of thing. And that sucks, but like that is the give and take that some documentarian people need to make. The fact that Two Player Productions, the folks that do this, because they are not employees of Double Fine, they are associated with Double Fine, but they are not direct employees of Double Fine, is a weird thing. But it does mean that the Double Fine documentaries are seemingly not ever really fucking sugarcoating things. They seem pretty fucking harsh in many ways about the company. And for good or bad, they seem fucking pretty okay. This is Double Fine with like, yeah, I mean, that's what happened. So yeah. And that's wild and surprising and cool as hell. Lastberg says, I've never actually watched that documentary or played Psychonauts 2. I think the documentary is worth checking out. I think Two-player productions, particularly their previous work, looking at a Double Fine Adventure, the history of the Kickstarter and the project, and that became Broken Age, and looking at all of that. That's fascinating. Now, I should say I was a backer of Double Fine Adventure. And so I do have a Blu-ray of it. Eventually I got that. That was part of the level that eventually got. So I'll just give you that caveat. But yeah, I mean, like, they're embedded, and it is a legitimate look at, and of course, who knows? There might be some stuff in there that we never sees the light of day, but it's much more of a raw look at the highs and lows of a game studio than we see places, because who the fuck is going to say yes to that shit? Like, Double Fine having a behind the scenes documentary with people that really want to work on something and be embedded, like, that's a value add for the Kickstarter they're doing, because they need something. They feel like they need more because they're trying to do a fucking adventure game. Hello, welcome. So, like, back years ago, that is something that you do because you're like, oh, that'll be fun, and that'll be like, yeah, that'll get some write-ups, that'll get some eyes on the project, that'll at least maybe convince a few people, hey, maybe I should support this because that's kind of neat and different. But what you end up is, hello. You end up with, like, this document, again, this visual document, a documentary, of a time and place in a studio, like finding out major moments, like the Microsoft acquisition. All these things are documented. The closure of an office, the highs and lows, like, just the very nature of this independent developer trying to shoot their shot to stay independent and work on small projects to keep things going, and having a few successes along the way and having some failures along the way. And it's just like, it's just access that we don't ever really get. And it's wild. And then to have this drop where it's just like, oh yeah, hey, yeah, Psychonauts 2 kind of fucked with people, like, fucked over. It didn't fuck people over. It was just rough in a way that this company wasn't known for operating, certainly. And it's a look at that, which is, again, kind of fucking wild to even have that. And I do need to sit down and watch the whole thing. The balance of PR and a doc is hard for anyone that gets embedded access. Yes, and part of that is it's easier when you're a small independent company run by a guy who just, like, is not hands off with things, but, like, wants to do cool shit. Like, that's from meeting him, having a couple. I've only had a handful of conversations with Tim Schafer, right? But we've hung out in a lot of the same circles. We spent some time together in various fun, silly instances. And my impression of him, not just from the documentaries past, but also my own personal interactions, and then, from what I know of the man, Tim Schafer is a dude that just wants to do cool shit. He just wants to, like, do cool stuff in the world of video games with cool people. That seems to be his primary motivation. So having, like, an embedded team doing a documentary on the stuff, like, yeah, you can see from the PR, from the head of a company perspective of, like, oh, that's a value add. Ooh, that's a little bit of promotion. That's something to talk about. We can get some footage of that for our own purposes later, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, but also, like, one of the reasons you don't see that stuff is because, well, one, it's hard to control your narrative that way if you're giving power to someone else. That's why you started seeing studio podcasts, because then you can kind of control it. Those have kind of gone out of favor. like vlog diaries and blog diaries on the studios and stuff like that, kind of trying to do your own PR that way, and have that side. One of the reasons you have that is because it at least feels like that way. You have a little more control over what gets said and all of that. But mostly you just have companies not saying anything outside of the PR marketing team because, again, it's hard to control that stuff. But also a reminder, unfortunately, that the internet's just full of fuckers who will twist everything you say and just are looking for reasons to be mad about things. Like, no game developer that is not that is part of a studio wants to be the guy that in a video clip talks about a thing that they're trying to implement in the game that they're excited about, and then have that be used as quote unquote evidence that the developers lied about a video game because this thing they promised, and by promised I mean included in the video as a thing that they're working on, didn't end up in the final product, therefore they're liars. It's just like thing that like nobody fucking wants to deal with anymore. Because nobody wants that shit. Again, nobody wants to be put in that position where they are constantly dealing with the fact that there's just like just people that don't know anything except what they definitely know, which is not what and all this other stuff. It's like, it's rough. It's rough out there. This is not to say that people can't have expectations for things or wants for things, or it's not, I'm not trying to say like, oh, you can't, be annoyed with the progress of a thing or the lack of information about things or stuff like that. Like, no, you're certainly entitled to being disappointed or wanting more or wanting. Sometimes, like, games devs and the PR team have nothing to say, and so they don't say anything. And if you're like interested in a video game, you kind of want to know something about the game, one of the reasons why we said like don't pre-order games was like, imagine that. Like, this is slightly different, right? But there are 2 video games that I kickstarted that are never going to come out. And I have made peace with the fact that neither are fucking coming out. I've pretty much made peace with that. But like, if one of those devs sent out an update being like, hey, here's the progress we're making on this game, I'd be like, oh, that's fucking cool. Sure. One person went radio silent. She was dealing with a lot, and I'm not mad about it. The other folks were updating. They were like, okay, so we ran out of the money from the Kickstarter. We're still working on the game. So-and-so got a job. Oh, we got some family stuff going on. We're dealing with that. Oh, well, we're expecting a child, so we're now that life balance is going there. And then like the last update was probably like, I have no fucking idea when that last update came in. I'm actually, we'll fucking look to see if I can find an update for one of these projects. I have to give permissions. This was a mistake. Can I even remember? Yes, I do have that login saved. Great, that's nice. It's been a while since I've been on a Kickstarter page. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, there are 3 games. One is coming out, and I do get updates quite a bit. Spirit Swap is a game that's going to come out, so I do expect to get updates about that. But yeah, Spirit Swap I do think is going to come. Let's see. Let's see. Come on. Let's see here. I have to scroll. They're so long ago. Yeah, all right. So, butt sniffing pugs. Butt sniffing pugs, the game, estimated delivery January 2018. Like, yeah, that game isn't coming out. It was a fun little game, a 2-person team, team that uh, had a fun, silly controller. But yeah, it was about sniffing butts. It's very cute and a fun little game. The last update from them was September 4th, 2020. So yeah, they have not updated in 4 years. Their lead developer, they're like, literally, here's some great news. Working closely with our lead developer, we figured out how to scale back our development time while keeping velocity. And then they have a whole thing about it. And the excitement of it. And like, yeah, I don't think that game's ever going to fucking come out. But it's okay, because whatever. Life happens. I gave them $15 8 years ago. Yeah, I'm not going to get that $15. I'm not going to get anything for $15. I'm certainly not going to be like somebody who seems to reply to every post being like, I love how they blame COVID. Like that was the reason this never came out. I guess they must have gone and pulled a Logan Paul at this point. And it's just like, yeah, no, come on. It's all right. I mean, yeah. Should they have some point said, hey, this is never coming out. We're never going to make this game? Yeah, at some point, the Space Beagles team should have been like, yeah, we're just probably never going to make this game. I'm fine with that. But like, I'm not going to be writing diatribes about that. Here's the thing. I gave them some money on Kickstarter, hoping that they would make a cool thing because it seemed fun. They're not going to make the cool thing. It happens. I'm again, I'm not like crying about it. But I did want to look to see like, oh yeah, is that actually done? But yeah, Spirit Swap. Lo-fi beats to match 3-2. I am hoping. They were at some point hoping the game would be out already. But things happen, and it's okay. Lots of things happened with that team, and I understand why things have not worked out perfect for that particular squad. It's like, yeah, I get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's part of the thing, right? It's just part of the thing. Sometimes you put some money out there, and like if I hear someone say like this is the only Kickstarter project I backed that didn't like exist, I'm just like, oh wow, you haven't backed a lot of Kickstarters, huh? Because a bunch of them, because I already said there, right? So there are 3 video games that I backed that. One of which I do still think is going to come out, 2 of which I know just aren't going to come out. Those are just done. They're just never going to exist. There are a couple other things I know that just never going to happen either that are in Kickstarter. There was a movie that I backed that they refunded people because they were just like, yeah, this is not going to exist. Creative differences. Sorry. And it's like, oh, all right. There was a deck of cards. It was like a feminist deck of cards where the girl got doxxed and just fucking ghosted. She just ghosted. It got picked up. It got funded, and the day it got funded, it got picked up on 4chan. And she messaged people saying, hey, email this, use this, like just to backers, send an email to this if you want your money back. I might make this thing, but I'm getting the fuck off the internet. And she never sent another message. And I was just like, I don't know, enjoy that $8 I gave you for this deck of cards. But yeah, she got doxxed and it got bad and she just bounced. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I totally understood that one. I have one. The dev's been doing streams of them working on it, on art and such, but they've been doing that for several years now. Yeah, that happens, Lord Crashington. Like, yeah, sometimes some of them are working on it. One thing I did want to say about butt sniffing pugs, like that one was like $60,000 to make a small little game that was probably going to be a $10 game at most at the time, 8 years ago, $10 game. Maybe it was going to be a $5 game. Like, yeah, that's going to need like money so that it can quit their day jobs to work on it. Like, that's just never coming out. That money got used to make as far into the game as they could, and then they assumed, my guess is they assumed that one of them would take a job at some point to just make a little bit of money, and they work on it, and then they would just be poor while they finished it, and then they would move on to like getting studio jobs, and then one of them, and then they got pregnant, and that changed their lives drastically. That's my guess anyway. That was my read on on it, but who knows? Could have been more. Could have been more to it. Yeah, I do not have 100% success rate with Kickstarter, as I said. A bunch of stuff that I backed exists, and and that's cool. But, yeah, some of it didn't. Same thing with Indiegogo. I backed a few Indiegogo things that never came to be. Mostly short film stuff, which is why I kind of stopped helping out with short films. But a webcomic guy that I like, I liked a lot. I don't pay attention to his stuff much anymore. I think I just kind of grew out of it. But he did, for many years, he would do, because he was doing his webcomic and all that, but he would do a collection. He would do a volume of it, and it was basically the pre-order. And it was to help pay for the run, and it was expected that they would come out, and you knew it was going to come out, and it was to, he started doing Kickstarter because he used to do it just through PayPal, which was a nightmare. And this just allowed him to do that. And he's somebody that like could just switch to BackerKit without it being a problem and just do it through there. But he still does it through Kickstarter, and it's a whole thing, and good on him. And then he gets lots and lots of books shipped, and he needs to have extras so that he can do convention circuit and all that. And I always remember to being like, yeah, that's fucking cool, man. Have a good time with that. It was an easy thing to just be like, yes, I would like to have a hard copy of this that I enjoyed. And then I stopped doing it once I kind of stopped reading the webcomic, because I was like, well, I don't really need to collect this anymore. It's cool that you did it. I thought the Retronauts Kickstarter was going to never happen, but then they randomly finished it a few years later, and I got a DVD that I haven't watched yet. Nice, yeah. Yeah, like I said, sometimes those end up happening because somebody ends up investing to get it done. Like, that's often the case with these, is that sometimes it looks like this thing is just never going to fucking happen, and then funding comes in to just finish the job. Or somebody involved with it. I have definitely, a couple friends of mine working on Kickstarter, and they ran into some health issues, and one of them had to get a full-time job so that they could get health benefits for the two of them. And they were like, I don't know if we're ever going to fucking finish this project. And then there was a death in their family, and they got an inheritance. And that inheritance became the money they used to finish and to fulfill their Kickstarter. And I have been incredibly vague about that story. It was not a video game. It was not something I backed. As I said, I just knew the people involved in it. And they just, at a certain point, were like, well, we just got a windfall we weren't expecting. Time to fulfill the thing that we wanted to do because we really couldn't because of time. All right, I don't remember how this piece goes in. Did it go in like this? No, it doesn't go in like this, so it must... Why don't I remember? I just did this on the other side, so why don't I not remember how it works? Oh, here it is. Okay, maybe it's like this. I think that mainly Jeremy Parrish putting it on the back burner as he dealt with moving from San Francisco to North Carolina and eventually went back to it. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, sometimes life gets in the way. And as always, friends, a reminder of all of these fundraising things is just like, it's not a pre-order. It's still an investment in an idea. And sometimes those ideas don't happen. And I think you all know that, but some people act like it just like I said there was a comment on that game that they pulled a Logan Paul. And it's just like, no, that's not what this is. That you invested money hoping that a thing would happen. There's no promise. There is a hope. There is a gentleman's agreement that people are going to fulfill a Kickstarter. But like, you don't get your money back if they don't. Your money is gone, and maybe you'll get a thing. That's the reality of those. Is it right? Like, in many ways, fucking no, it's not right. It's not right that sometimes people can just do that shit without any consequence. And there's no repercussions for just like not doing the thing. Like, yeah, it sucks. I had the wrong polycap in. I pulled the polycap that I'm going to need later. If you're wondering why I instantly could do the thing that I couldn't do before, it's because I was fucked. I had the wrong thing. That's why I triple check. When I start running into issues, I often go, okay, well, why is this happening? Let me see if I know why this. Oh, okay, is it me? Am I doing a thing wrong? And often the answer to that question is yes, I am doing the thing wrong. All right, so we got the other leg done here now. We do have to panel line this whole thing, which we will do. But let's put the foot on here. Oops. That didn't fly too far, thank God. Oop, it did fall there. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think we would talk about Kickstarter stuff here. But yeah, part of that is just like I said, I occasionally check in on some stuff, see how things are going. But like, I do not expect those two projects to happen. As I said, I do hope that one of them does happen because it did seem like they got further investment to continue it going. But also, if it doesn't, yeah, that sucks. But like I said, I gave them the money hoping they would make the thing. I'm not, I took on the risk. It's not like I gave them a ton of money. It's not like I'm an investor. Uncle Amiibo wants to know, or just a question here. I gave myself a condition where it comes to Gunpla. I can only build from a series I have watched. Which Queen from Mercury is my only option right now? What should I watch next? Oh, okay. So Witch from Mercury is the only one that you've watched. So what is your next one? Okay. Well, you can go in some different directions. If you want to watch like a weird one, Turn A Gundam is a weird Gundam series that I really like, but it's weird. Very cool mobile suits in that one, an odd story. If you want another modern Gundam series, I would say that Iron Blooded Orphans is fantastic. That's 2 seasons. Iron Blooded Orphans is unbelievably gorgeous and sad and visually, I think, really cool. It is the modern era of like of a Gundam series. It still feels very modern and widescreen and just like great music. So I would say, yeah, if you want a weird one, Turn A. If you want a kind of a great modern series, Iron Blooded Orphans. Yeah, and then like, I don't know, if you want a really old one, 8th MS Team is a great old Gundam series. And all of those have Turn A, not a lot of mobile suits out there for Turn A. Iron Blooded Orphans, a lot of mobile suits. There are a lot of model kits to build from Iron Blooded Orphans. So if that's also a thing that you want, that's a great show with a lot of cool model kits, and they're out there, and you can find them at a good price. Relatively good price. Now it's part of the stream where I'm going to talk to you, friends, about ways you can support the channel. Everything I'm going to talk about here is optional. You don't have to do any of these things. If you would like to support me financially, you can. Again, optional. Don't worry about it. If you can't, I get it. I wish you could, but I totally understand if you cannot. An easy way to support me is to become a subscriber to the Build a Bear Workshop. You can throw, if you are a subscriber, all right, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote into chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here. John just used their Prime Gaming token saying, like this, 32 months. Thank you so much. John, appreciate you very much. Thank you for subscribing, using your Prime Gaming token. That's another way to support me, is using the token. I appreciate that very much. You could also gift a sub like John did this month if you want to be part of the gift sub leaderboard for the rest of July. It resets every month, so you'll only be there for a couple days, but you can gift a sub. We are currently at 27 subscribers. The goal is to get to 40. I shut up about how many subscribers I have when I hit 40. So if you'd like to become a subscriber or gift a sub or anything like that, now would be a great time to do it. Hello. If you would, again, oh, no problem, Uncle Amiibo. Yeah, so again, folks, this is, I'm just going to take a couple minutes here to kind of promote myself and what I'm up to. We'll get back to model kit building. We'll talk about some anime stuff that I've been watching, but just for a couple minutes, bear with me as I attempt to do my best to promote what I'm doing. And ways that you can support the channel, again, all optional. You don't have to do any of these things, but it's good to remind people because I have had a Patreon as long as I've been a streamer, and the other day someone said, oh, you're on Patreon? And I was like, yes, I am. So I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. Different rewards for different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon if you want to. That is a way to support me. I have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatBear. Over on my YouTube, subscribing is free. I post videos weekly, and every other week I post videos. So, you know, there's something new. Sometimes there's multiple things a week. Sometimes there's one thing a week. But there's always something going on my YouTube channel. And if you want to become a member over there, if that's how you'd like to support me, for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So you get a little bit of an early exposure of those things. Those are monthly ways to support me. If you wanted to, on occasion, throw me a tip, you could do that to my Ko-Fi or to my PayPal. If you want to do that. And everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund. And from that fund, I buy model kits. Take the money out and buy model kits. The kit I'm currently working on right now, the Unicorn Gundam Destroy Mode. I'm building that kit right now because I bought it like a month ago or 2 months ago. So thank you very much to everybody that's, you know, past you is helping out present me. And you can help out future me. Now, those are all ways to support me here through Cash Money, which is awesome. If you said, Pat, you've got a backlog of stuff. That's cool. Don't build from that. I want to decide what you're building next. Well, you can do that by buying something off my Amazon wish list. If you buy something off of my wish list, it comes to me in the mail and I make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased for my YouTube channel. And then also it jumps the queue because that's the least I could do is build the thing you purchased with your hard-earned money before I build the stuff that I purchased, some of which with your hard-earned money. I've got Lego sets. I got model kits. I have inexpensive kits, expensive kits. I just added an entry grade. One of the only entry grades I haven't built, the LAH Gundam entry grade from Metaverse. I just put that on the wish list. And also an Ultraman kit that is fairly new that I just put on the wish list as well. That are pretty good prices on those. They'll be quick builds, but they're good prices. But yeah, I got model kits and Lego sets, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, some gear at the bottom. And, you know, sometimes people just want to buy a thing for me to build. And that's very kind of them. Maybe you got a gift card in the mail or, you know, for a holiday and you're like, I don't fucking know what to do with this Amazon gift card. Buy me a model kit to build. My alternative to Amazon, because it's nice to have alternatives, is I have a wish list on Throne, and you could buy something there, see if there's something there that you would like to pick up for me. And then the most convoluted way to support me. This is a thing that people have done. 3 people have done this. So it's still wild that is true, but it is true. 3 different people have gone to USA Gundam Store and bought a gift card at USA Gundam Store. They get an email with the gift card code, and then they whispered me here on Twitch or sent me a DM on Twitter or DM on Blue Sky or Mastodon with that gift card code. And then I bought something for USA Gundam Store. And again, the most steps possible. Hitting the subscribe button is like 2 things. That's a lot of things to do, but people have done it, which is so nice of them. If you want to support me but not spend any money, I have a Discord and you can hang out there. I post build photos at the end of every stream. I post stuff I'm working on. There's a whole section for people that isn't as active as it used to be, and that's okay. But there's a whole section for people to post stuff they're working on if they wanted to. And it's a little light in there. And if you're currently working on something and you want to throw a photo up in there in the Discord, I would love to see it. Couple of video links for you to check out, then we'll get back to building. This episode, this week, I put up a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club, and I talked about my favorite shows so far, anime specifically, in the winter and spring 2024 seasons. So it's kind of like the half year, because we're in the summer season right now, and the fall season, and the year will be over. But I kind of just wanted to talk about the shows that I really liked from the first half. And then at the end of the year, when I do my top 10, or in January, depending on my schedule, I can look and go to myself and go, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that was in my top 10? Weird. Yeah, that did not make the list. That did not make the cut. Whisper Me a Love Song. Still never saw episodes 11 and 12 of that, unfortunately. So it couldn't make the list. And then Kuma Baer. So that video is pretty good, I think. Go check that out if you haven't already. Kuma Baer is my weekly anime recommendation series. It is shorts on YouTube, where in under a minute, I try to convince you to check out a show that I really like. And there's a theme for every month. July's theme has been my favorite shows from the 2024 spring season of anime. And this week, I talked about Bartender, Glass of God, which, look, on vibes alone, even if you don't drink and you have no interest in bartender culture, the vibes are just good. This anime spent all its goddamn money on like rotoscoping bartenders making drinks. It's a love letter to a industry that I respect but don't necessarily have fond feelings towards or anything like that. I don't drink myself. I don't go to bars that much anymore anyway. I have friends who are bartenders, but it is a love letter to fancy drinks and the idea of being someone that makes drinks, not just what the customer wants, but what they need. I don't know. It's very cool. I think Bartender is a great series, and you should check it out. So I made a little video about it. And now it's time to stop talking about that anime and talk about some other anime that I have been watching. I am making, we're gonna talk about Oshi no Ko season 2, episode 4, and then we'll talk about Dungeon People episode 3. Wait. Yes. That's right. Yeah. Wait. No, it was episode 4. I'm on the wrong episode of Dungeon People. That's right. It's episode 4. There it is. Okay. My notes, I accidentally brought up my notes from episode 3, and I was like looking at it. I'm like, wait, no, I already talked about episode 3. This is episode 4. Okay. So we'll talk about some of the anime that I'm watching here in just a second. But before I get into this anime conversation, we need to take a brief moment to transition back to the overhead camera, and I need to drink some water. So we'll dramatically transition right now. And the background remover did its job and removed the background of the water I was drinking, which always makes me giggle a little bit. I always like that. Okay, so I got all this done. Yeah, I did all this. I did all the parts that I need to do here. Yeah, okay. This leg is done. I'm going to panel line it while I talk about some anime, and then we will work on the waist, and maybe we'll body complete that. We'll finish the body of this kit, and then just worry about the because the backpack is basically already on. Yeah, so we still have the waist here and connect everything together, and then we have the weapon, the gun, and the shield. And so I don't think we're going to finish this kit tonight, but we'll definitely be finishing it on Monday. So my patrons, $10 patrons, will get to vote tomorrow on what I'm building next. I'll put up some options for them to decide. Let's talk about episode 4 of Oshi no Ko season 2 and episode 4 of Dungeon People, both on High Dive. I don't know how it happened that I'm watching so many shows on High Dive this season. Last season it was one show, and I was like, should I fucking be paying for High Dive for this? But whatever. And I watched some old stuff. One of my comfort anime is all on High Dive. So that like helps out when I'm like wondering, should I be keeping this subscription? And then I remember that, oh well, Non Biori's on High Dive and including the movie. So if I want to watch Non Biori, there's like one season that might still be on Crunchyroll because it was on both, but I think all of it's now just on High Dive. So I'm like, well, I got to keep watching that because that's where my stories are at. That's where my comfort anime is. Anyway, Oshi no Ko season 2, not my comfort anime. Really well done show, but certainly not my favorite. I'm not loving this particular arc so far, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because I really liked season 1. Again, I've said this before. I will say it again. I am a broken record on this. One of the weirdest pilot episodes of an anime in the past several years was the 90-minute episode 1 of Oshi no Ko. It's like 3 different stories in one. It does so much work just to get you to, and now the show begins. That it's fucking wild, and I recommend checking it out, even if you're not going to watch the show, which I think you should. Anyway, so the meta commentary here is to reminder, this is based on a manga. So this is an anime about young people in the entertainment industry. And this arc is about these young people are working on a stage play based on a manga, which is a very popular thing to do in Japan. And it's a kind of a commentary on the role of the manga artist and writer and adaptation, and should they let things go, or are they wrong for giving up control? Are they wrong for keeping control? And all of that. And a reminder that this anime is based on a manga, so this is a mangaka writing about other mangaka and maybe throwing shade or maybe dealing with their own thoughts on this issue. And so it's very fucking meta. And then also this show is about a dude who died and is reincarnated and is trying to figure out who killed him in his who set up the man that killed him, who also killed the woman that gave birth to him as this teenager. So there's also that level. And that's the thing I care about more than I care about the young people trying to make it in the entertainment industry, which is unfortunately really the fucking focus of Oshi no Ko. I like the murder mystery part. I don't mind the idol stuff. Anyway, Abiko, who is the person who has the manga in the stage play that they're having trouble with, watches a stage play adaptation for their former mentor, and meets with Raida, and Raida's just like, hey, look, there's a chance that the adaptation of Tokyo Blade, the stage play, that it won't be great. But the person that wrote the stage play that you just watched and liked took my stab at it and made it better. And maybe they can do the same thing for you. And so, yeah, so it's like, why don't you trust this person? They adapt things, like trust them to do the job. And then Akibo's just like, you have to fulfill something that I need you to do. and then they have a video call. Again, this is all like, these are characters that were kind of really introduced this season. To me, it is interesting, the idea, like the larger ideas of this, I think are fascinating. But again, the thing that I'm looking for in this show is the weird murder mystery thing. Like, I don't need to know why this guy got reincarnated. I don't need that. I don't need to know that thing, like what God decided this was going to happen. I don't need that. But I kind of want to fucking know who his dad is, who he believes set him up, and if that's a red herring or if that's the truth. Like, that's the shit I kind of care more about. But like I said, we're getting through this now, so we'll carry on here. It seems like the script is going to be good. Collaboration happens, which is what you want, and some good times, and it looks like this shit's going to actually work out. Everyone reads the revised script. Some like it, some don't. And then it's time to get into rehearsals. And apparently, people are pretty happy with how the rehearsals turn out, but Aqua is still kind of struggling because he's just a smart. The reason Aqua is a good actor is because he's an adult in a child's body and now a teenager, but that's only going to get him so far because it's not like he's actually a good actor. He was just a good child actor. There is literally there's an unbelievable moment here where they're trying to help Aqua out with acting, and literally she's like, Kana is just like, well, there's a bunch of different methods, and okay, well, some of it is like the lived method. Like, how would you react if you watched your mother die? And which he did. He shouldn't remember it, but he does know that. He does remember what happened there. And she's like, yeah, you'll probably cry if you remember or picture someone close to you dying, which is I don't know. I don't think that's true. Because also, reminder that this guy who's dead also was a doctor. And so his interactions with death are different. Yes, he was a small town doctor, but still. I was just I was one of those things where this is kind of cool because we know all the information that Kana doesn't know. So I was actually this is my favorite scene in a while in this show, because this is a interesting thing to see. Yeah, does this dude have feelings? Is he removed from reality because of all this? I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Bobby just subscribed to Tier 1 for 43 months. Thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate you very much. We'll put the... this way you can get double hands. There you go. I don't know if I've done it like this before. I've done it like this, and I've done it down here. I don't know if I've ever done this. The double hand. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that. Sorry, I got really interested in that because I haven't seen that, the double hands. I don't know if I've done the double hands. I don't remember doing the double hands. So, pretty psyched about that. New discoveries, folks. Who says I'm gotten stale? I did at the beginning of this stream that things have gotten a little stale. All right, our legs are done here. We've completed the legs. Let's work on the waist. I don't know if we will finish the waist today, but we will at the very least get some of the waist done. So Aqua is trying to remember positive moments in the body of being Aqua, to remember sad moments. Again, this is a guy who was an okay child actor because he remembered moments of being alive. Okay, so I need PC2, PC9 on the sides, PC2 on the bottom. These are PC9, PC2 goes on the bottom. Making sure I don't fuck up these polycaps because it will be a goddamn nightmare if I put a polycap on wrong. I can fix it, but it's harder to fix. A polycap that you put on wrong can sometimes just one, not come off, and two, be really warped if you really tried to force it. So I always do my best never to force a polycap, because it's Like I said, this one that I'm putting on here, I tried to put on the leg by mistake, and it just wouldn't fit in there, and then didn't force it because I was like, I never try to force these. These are going to be the side skirts. That's definitely what these are. Polycaps. I do love these red polycaps. There's something about that always makes me happy to see. All right, so we need B17 and then A4 and A5. All right, so Aqua is trying to remember his happiness, and he is basically arguing with himself internally that he does not deserve to be happy, which then causes him to basically he's fighting with himself. And a thing that we kind of knew from season 1, but was kind of glanced over, which was a shame. It's more in the manga than the anime, as far as I know, is that Aqua has PTSD. And it's the true statement is he doesn't have PTSD. He has memories of being an adult man, and he's in a child's body, and he's having trouble processing that. But again, it didn't really get super deep in the past on that, and this is just stuff that like would be nice for that. But yeah, he is being tormented inside, and this is kind of a revelation. This felt really kind of weak, like it plays out weak, but it is again interesting. This is like interesting stuff to kind of get into. Okay, so where do these go? To have these moments of like, oh yeah, of course this character would be fucked up. That is a thing that like we don't get enough in these kinds of reincarnation stories, is like characters not always having a perfect time dealing with this stuff. And like the idea that there could be trauma in this is cool. Trauma is not cool. You know what I mean when I say that. It is unique and interesting to have these moments where characters are like experiencing these moments of like struggle, to see their struggle. It's kind of interesting. We have a moment where Akane learns about a lot of this. She didn't know. And now we're starting to like, Aqua talks about there was a whole thing where Akane tried to like act like in season 1. That was a really weird thing. So it looks like we might get a repeat of that. And then we see like, Akane says that she's coming up with a theory about him, but she doesn't say what it is. So again, this ended on like a moment that I didn't necessarily think this anime was going to dive into, which is this kind of like internalized trauma. And it's not the trauma that he's presenting outwardly, like, because you assume, oh, this is trauma about the death of his mother, right? Because you don't know what's going on. This kind of like precocious kid, has suffered this incredible loss and is just kind of dealing with that. And that explains why he and his sister are both in the entertainment industry and all that. But it's not that. It's nothing to do with that. He just doesn't feel like he deserves happiness because he feels responsible for the death of a woman that he was charged with helping. And yeah, I think it's like deeper than it has any right to be, and actually works pretty fucking well at it, despite everything. So yeah, I enjoyed episode 4 of season 2 of Oshinoko. Episode 4 of Dungeon People is a different vibe, and not to say it's not like there weren't some tough moments here. If you have not been watching Dungeon People, it imagines a fantasy world where there are dungeons and there are, adventurers that go through the dungeons and do all that. Apparently the dungeons have a dungeon master and have people that run and work from it. And our main character, Clay, got hired to work there. And And there's a whole thing. I'm not going to go through all the whole things of like how they justify a lot of it of like monsters have their souls transferred into fake monsters, so that way when they die, they don't really die because they needed a justification for all this. Is this right? Let me see. But yeah, they go through all the justification of how it works. But basically, she's the first human to work there. We know that she is one of the reason she was hired is because she's one of the best adventurers ever. She's gotten the farthest anyone has or have. She's searching dungeons for traces of what happened to her dad. And we know that she was part of the Thieves Guild. And that's kind of all we really know. We have we learn a little more of the town in this episode. Apparently, the Thieves Guild that she belonged to got wiped out, and they don't know what happened. And that like some of the staff is missing. And that's just kind of like the beginning of the episode. Where like, oh, so some shit's going down. But again, we don't really know what happened, or we don't know the how or the why of that. But we may learn more later. Belle, which is now our character who runs the labyrinth, Clay, and some golems meet some characters. There's a whole conversation there. The golems carrying out some tasks, Clay and Belle doing some work, discussing the dungeon and all of that, like the item bags and various tools. And return scrolls, and she's just like, yeah, thieves that register with the guild get these tools. And again, when I mention thieves, I'm not talking about like pickpockets. This is a playable, this is like a playable class in a video game style thief. This is the like scout or explorer class. Clay ends up being like incredibly nimble and because of her innate abilities and her, and like that kind of thing. That's when I say that, that's what I'm talking about. I can't figure out how this piece goes on. This kit, even as I'm like getting to the point where we're almost done with it, is still throwing weird shit at me. It's still like, oh, you think you know how the back of this kit works? Well, you can't figure out how to get the part of the butt on, so way to go. Because that can't be right. Let me look at the instructions here. This is this piece, and it just kind of like points in the general direction, and then you just have to like hope you figure it out. But yeah, these instructions leave some to be desired for a kit that is a little weird. There it is. Okay. Like that doesn't look right, but it is. It just does not look right at all. And that's because, like, obviously if this kit had movement to a lot of the parts, these would be flat and then it would flap up to reveal all of the destroyer parts. But since they're not like that, you just have to assemble it oddly. And there's no better explanation than, yes, you put it together a little weird because it's kind of like exploded in a way, is my good explanation. That was my really detailed, good explanation of how this kit works. But like, it just becomes like craggly, But there's no, these don't slide. Just how it looks. I think it is a cool effect, but in the process of assembly, it does leave a little bit to be desired because it does feel a little weird. Okay, let's see. Many exploring parties died because they didn't have knowledge about traps and thief companions. So basically, the head of the guild at some point that she belonged to came up with the idea of like the thief guild that like specializes in working in dungeons. And we learned that. Yeah, okay, her predecessor kind of figured that stuff out. Belle started an organization with the guild to supply folks with useful tools. That's like a whole thing that they went through. And that apparently that led to the incident that Clay was talking about earlier, where a big portion of the guild like headquarters like blew up. Apparently, this collaboration led to a bad scenario. Let's see. Bell is helping Furin with something. Refringe, a character that we've met a couple times, asked Clay about her dad. Which, you know, again, we know that she's searching for her dad. We don't have much more information, and he taught her about working in a being an adventurer and working in a dungeon and all that. But we don't have like a lot of information about him, other than what we've learned here. We're going to learn more about him. Clay says that they haven't found him yet. But she thinks that he made it to the 10th floor of a dungeon, and Clay made it to the 9th floor of that dungeon. So she thinks, he, at the very least, he made it farther than she did, but, she made pretty far. He wants to prove, how strong Clay is by attacking. And then basically it's just like, you'd make it to like the 7th floor, maybe the 8th floor. But apparently he used to be one of the best assassins in the guild. Again, these are characters that we're like just kind of getting to know a little bit, but we don't know super well. All right, so let's see, this is going to be on the front side. So this is 15, this is 14. We got to put E's behind it. Again, the kind of like exploded out thing. So we're going to put that there because that's 14. This is 15. Then I need some E's and B16. All right. Get that together. Let's see. He's like, I like my job. And then Renfringe is just like, I mean, Brant's the dad could still be in the dungeon. Like, it's possible he's still around. They go to the control room. Let's see. There's slime there. And apparently we get a flashback explaining what's up with this slime, which is not much. And it might be important. I assume it's important later because I was like, oh, yeah, all right. This slime just does stuff. Like, whatever. I assume we might get a little bit more detail on that in the future. 21 is this piece, which means that this is 22. All right. Again, I love these effect parts, like these clear parts, but reading the numbers on it is a little difficult in my current lighting setup, just because I get a lot of the overhead light bouncing off of it and the light on me kind of making it a little difficult to read. But it's not the end of the world. All right, so this is going to go like this. This is going to go like that. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Oh, so nice to do this and have it work the first time. It's so rare and so nice that I just snapped these and it like worked. Because you never know. All right. Here we go. That front part's on. And then... Okay. We are almost body complete on this. We do need to panel line this part here. And then we can attach it to another piece that's going to go in there. But let's... Yeah. And D6 is this piece here. But yeah, we do need to panel line that, which we will do in just a second. Let's see. Okay. There are a bunch of ripped up bags. She wonders if one of those bags might belong to her dad, but she decides she's not going to check the bags. Um, and the best answer would be for her to go to the 10th floor. And instead of just like wondering, the thing she really should be doing is just like confronting her new boss about if she the boss knows anything about her dad, and then maybe going down to the floor that he was last seen on, or she at least believes he's on. That's probably the answer. So again, we're getting more stuff about her dad, which we didn't have previously. Clay has Belle examine a dagger. Let's see. And apparently this dagger has some magic properties, but has not accepted Clay as the rightful owner of the dagger, which is very video gamey in a way that I like. But apparently there's restrictions on it because the dagger came from the 10th floor, and she got that dagger for her dad, which means her dad definitely went to the 10th floor. So if she goes to the 10th floor, the dagger's powers could theoretically be unlocked, but that is confirmation that her father did make it that far at some point. Let's see. Clay says that she doesn't want to remove the restrictions. They go to where they'll be staying and meet some of the monsters that she's fought before, because now they're coworkers. And she says some nice things about them, and they readily accept her, which is nice. Nice little interactions there. Some monsters kind of talk like people and interact like she would expect. Others kind of don't just do whatever. So it is a vibrant world with a lot of stuff going on that I was very happy to see. But it is kind of neat how some characters act like quote unquote people and other ones don't. Then we see the goblins that Clay fought in the first episode, which I did not remember, but yeah, they introduce themselves. They are 3 brothers. I wrote down their names because their names are good. Shieldmerg, Bandig, and Bondog. And then Bondog is apparently horny, I guess. And they want to, but maybe he doesn't know. I'm not sure. It was unclear if he was horny or weird or didn't know what he was asking. He might be dumb. I don't know. But anyway, they definitely want to fight Clay, and they're going to have an arena fight basically. And it's very short. I was like, oh, cool. This will be like the cliffhanger of like, what's this fight? No, it just happens. She just beats all their asses. And then they fucking run away after it. They wanted a rematch. They lost, and then they fucking took off. And I thought it was pretty funny. But the real cliffhanger is right behind our girl Clay is a fucking dragon. There's this dragon appears out of nowhere, and that's the cliffhanger. I thought for sure the cliffhanger was, this fight, but no. That was over very quickly, and now our girl is maybe going to interact with a fucking dragon. So, I am happy that episode 4 addressed some stuff about her dad, because all we knew is that she was looking for him. We don't know, there's still a lot of more questions. The idea that there are other humans that know how a dungeon runs is interesting, because it was very much a surprise for our girl who's good at adventuring in a dungeon. Is Dungeon People like a must-watch this season? I don't think it's a must-watch, but I do think it's really good. It's really inventive. I think the vibes are really fun. This is a season of a lot of like pretty good shows, and this one is like, I think, above that, because I think like it is an interesting take on the behind-the-scenes stuff that does seem to want to explore like how this shit works and how it makes sense. And I don't know, I'm enjoying my time with Dungeon People. I would say check it out. Now is the part of the stream. We got a few minutes left. I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you up to and into? What's got you excited about games, or did you go see Deadpool and Wolverine this weekend? What are you up to? What do you got going on? I want to hear from you right now. I will tell you. Um, hey, I've been playing Mech Builder. And a thing with Mech Builder, a game that I still very much enjoy, that's still good vibes, that I'm having a good time with. One of the things about Mech Builder is that it broke. An update broke it, and then the update fixed. If you haven't played the game in a while, when you load the game, there's instructions on how to recover your old save data, unless you want to start brand new, which you can. If you're buying the game and just getting it at a no, and you haven't played it before, you're fine. It's just something in one of the updates broke the saves and it has to be reset. But there is a way to get your old save data in, and it wasn't that complicated. Also, there was a small update that just adds in the top corner of the screen where there are the buttons you can click to switch between moving stuff, clipping things out, painting. Those are all on hotkeys, Q through T. The little icons also have the tip. They have the like Q is written next to move item, the button. So that is just an extra little bit of saving you time and energy. And I appreciate that. That is a nice bit of business there. Again, Mech Builder is just a chill experience. I've been enjoying. I've kind of going freestyle on painting. I haven't done any of the kit bashing yet. I mean to do the kit bashing, but I have not gotten around to doing the kit bashing yet. But I look forward to it because I think that'll be neat. I still might stream it in the future and focus on the kit bashing and maybe finish up a couple things I haven't done. I don't think right now it seems to be that the developer is focusing on bug fixes and getting things done together, and is not necessarily focusing on like extra content or anything like that, like more models. I think it might be done on models, but again, it's like an $8 game, so I'm like, that's fine. I'm still enjoying my time with it. I have one deck that's pretty good. It's pretty busted in Hearthstone that I've been playing. I'm looking for other decks that are differently busted, but more fun. And I have not found it yet, but it's still early in the meta, because right now there's the scam decks are out, and there's like one Demon Hunter scam deck that I definitely don't want to play because the vibes are bad on that deck. So I don't want to play that one, but I haven't really locked into what I do want to play as far as Hearthstone goes. But I am investigating. I am trying my best to find a deck that I do want to put some time into. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to read what y'all wrote as we wrap things up here. Bobby Dice Roller got a new TV today and planning to watch one new movie every day through the entirety of August. Nice. Get a movie a day in on your new TV. That is a great excuse to catch up on some stuff or watch some old favorites, stuff like that. That's awesome. That's a really fun idea, Bobby. I set up a Letterboxd account to make a little review profile so I can record the process. Nice. That's a fun idea. It's all because I started loving movies again when I took a recent international flight and watched so many movies. Hell yeah, you fell back in love with movies, Bobby. That's awesome. I love hearing that. That's very cool. Lashbrick says, with my new guitar, your new guitar for guitar games, you've been getting into Clone Hero and the like. Turns out someone went and charted the song from the dog ending of Silent Hill 2. Of fucking course they did. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I bet that's also in DDR somehow. I bet that's also in, pardon me. I bet that's also in Step Mania. I bet Step Mania also has the dog ending from Silent Hill 2 somehow as a playable. Lord Crashton says, planning to potentially see Twisters and Deadpool and Wolverine this coming week with some free time I'll have. Hell yeah. I'll have fun. I don't feel like going to the movie theaters anymore. Excuse me. But I will watch Deadpool and Wolverine at some point because I want to know because I have watched all of the Deadpool films and all of the Wolverine films. So I kind of want to watch it. I'm interested. We are body complete on this kit. I still have to do the weapons and the shield, the gun and the shield, which we will do on Monday stream. The Deer anime OP is also there. Glassbrook, I would be mad if it wasn't. I would be surprised and a little upset if that OP was not in Clone Hero. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's stream. I'll take a photo of this after and post it on my Discord. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up here. Oh, you also kind of recently bought 2 15 terabyte hard drives, so you've been filling them up with lots of movies. Hell yeah, yeah. Get your movie stuff together. Get your Plex server together, or whatever you want to use, whatever the fuck you want to use. But yeah, get that stuff together. That's cool. I am going to raid. That is how we end every stream around here. I'm going to go find someone doing cool shit out there that we want to go spend some time with, and we'll go see what they're up to. It's a Saturday night. I don't know who's streaming right now, but we'll find somebody. Let's see how long this person has been streaming, because I would love to raid Pizza Suplex. Let's see how long Pizza Suplex has been going under 2 hours. That's great. We're going to go raid. Pizza Suplex is playing Fuser, and apparently with VHS tape stuff playing in the background, this is chaos in a way that I'm really into. So we're going to go raid because this looks like a fucking good time. Thanks for the stream, Pat. I watched you on a late night recently at an airport, and I really appreciate hearing a friendly voice. That's lovely for you to say. Thanks so much for saying that, Bobby. I aim to please, and I'm happy that people enjoy what I do here. Thank you all so much for being here. I enjoy you being here, too. I hope you'll come back on Monday as I finish this kit and start a new one. My $10 patrons get to decide what that is, and they'll vote tomorrow and probably into Monday. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you have a good time, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.